Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm your host, Hilmarie. Today's guest is someone whose story is one of passion, purpose, and ocean protection. Mudasir Wajid is a PADI Course Director, one of the highest distinctions in the diving world, with over 15 years of experience and more than 3,500 dives under his belt. From rescuing a stingray to authoring the Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver Specialty course, now taught around the world, Mudasir is on a mission to turn recreational divers into true stewards of the ocean. Wajid, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Hilmarie. I'm really happy to be here today with you.
I'm excited about this discussion. I started diving 25 years ago, so I'm really excited to talk to somebody who's taking it so seriously. But let's start with your backstory.
Okay.
Can you please tell our audience about yourself and how you ended up here in the UAE?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Mudasir Wajid. I am from Bangalore, which is a place in India. It's also called an IT city. I'm a mechanical engineer by training, and for a long time, my world was defined by high pressure industrial systems and heavy machinery, which includes PET bottling plants and high pressure compressors, oil and gas. I'm always fascinated by heavy industrial machinery. I actually finished my university in India and then I was looking out for a job. But before I look out for a job and when I finished my university, I used to spend a lot of time in my friend's garage, in my friend's workshop, fascinated a lot of things with the mechanical stuff, how they are built, how they are functioning. And I used to get my hands dirty. That's what I liked in the mechanical field. So then my brother was actually working in the UAE. He told me, why don't you find a job in UAE? And then I moved to UAE over 23 years back. I joined NTES. It was the foundation of my mechanical field. And hats off and thanks to Noble that I am progressed so much in my field. It's actually a company which is doing engineering, fabrication, critical equipment, which is included in oil and gas, high pressure compressors, PET bottling plants, and a very reputed company which also works with a lot of companies which includes oil and gas industry. I'm really thankful for an opportunity like getting with NTES, which is Noble Technical Engineering Services, and I'm still with them.
Amazing. So from Bangalore, loving to get your hands dirty, getting into engineering and fabrication, quite a different world to scuba diving. So what first drew you to the world of scuba diving?
It's actually a funny story. It was 2007 and I was on a work trip to Maldives. Now you can't go to Maldives and just stay on the shore because I was there for installing and commissioning a machine. So I decided on a whim to try a discovery dive, which now we know as Discover Scuba Dive. So the moment I took the first breath underwater, my engineering brain went quiet. I was thinking about pressures and or valves. I was just home. I was not thinking about any kind of valves, any kind of machinery. I was just home. That one work trip turned into a lifelong obsession and a hobby. I went from being an engineer who dives on weekends to someone who realized the ocean was where I was meant to be.
Wow, what a story. Amazing. The Maldives is also fantastic. Did you then make a career shift from engineering to getting into the blue economy? Because I heard you say in the beginning that you were still doing engineering.
Okay. So here's what happened. Engineering is about solving problems and maintaining systems. Eventually, I realized that our most important life support system, which is the ocean, it's in some kind of trouble. So I saw a gap in the diving industry. We have had many people diving for fun. We still have, but not enough people diving with a mission. So I wanted to apply some rigor safety protocols and systematic thinking I used in a mechanical engineering to marine conservation. So I didn't just want to be a diver. I wanted to build a framework that made every diver a contributor to the blue economy. So on and off, I used to dive, and plus I used to manage my mechanical field because I love both of them. I love what I do in mechanics.
And you're able to use that skill set in your regular engineering mechanical job to applying something to preserving the oceans as well.
Yes, exactly.
I mentioned in the introduction that you are a PADI Course Director.
Yes.
So, for our listeners unfamiliar with diving, what exactly is a PADI Course Director and how long does it take to get there?
Think of a PADI course director as a professor of professors. It is the highest professional rating in the diving world, held by less than 1% of industry's elite globally. It's not just about being a good diver, it's about having the ability to train the instructors who then train the world. It's a journey that takes years of dedication, which I have dedicated a lot of my time, and I have trained a lot, thousands of dives, and a deep commitment to this industry, which you really need to give. And thanks to this industry. Reaching to this level of PADI course director in October 2024 was one of my proudest moments because it gave me the platform to truly influence the future of diving. As you can say in simple words, what is a PADI course director? PADI course director is a instructor trainer who trains the upcoming generation of divers plus the instructors who go on to train the rest of the world and make sure that they train them in a proper way.
Congratulations on achieving this fantastic rating to be among the elite top in diving. It's really fantastic. I want to take us back a little bit to the moment at Martini Rock when you rescued the stingray. What happened that day?
I was actually not going to dive that day, but one of my colleague was with her students, and she needed help with the students, who's also my fellow course director. So she called me and she said, "Could you help me out because I have quite a few students and I would like a hand if you can come along and join me and help me out." So I said, "Okay, fine, let's do it." We were at Martini Rock, a beautiful site here in the UAE in Fujairah. When we started the dive, I saw a giant stingray. It wasn't swimming. Actually, this site, we usually don't see a lot of stingrays at this site. And it was just very close to the boat, the dive site. So, what happened is unusual stuff, which I saw that there is one stingray sitting, and there are like 7, 8 stingrays around that stingray, just sitting next to each other. And this is very unusual. I haven't seen this in so many years of my diving. In this particular site, I have done thousands of dives. When I looked closely at the stingray, it wasn't swimming, it was struggling, wrapped tightly in a massive, heavy ghost net. It was a visceral sight. For an hour, I had to use every bit of my technical training to carefully cut that net away. But I tried to approach the stingray from a different angles, keeping a very safe distance because usually the first rule of conservation is that we are not allowed to touch or we should not touch the animals or marine animals because they have some kind of a coating on top of their body. And, when that coating wears off, they tend to get sick. I kept a very safe distance between the stingray and me. And then I tried to unhook it, but I was not able to unhook it very clearly. I told my colleague to hand me the knife under the water because usually we don't carry the knives. It's just for an emergency purpose. It's a cutting tool. When I started to cut the ghost net off and the fishing hook, which was lined, finally swam free. And as soon as it took off, the rest of the stingrays also took off with them. And luckily, the students who were with us that day doing the course, they filmed it. Actually, I was very lucky to see it by myself. So I realized that good intentions aren't enough. You need structural training. That rescue became the catalyst for the Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver specialty. I wanted to bridge the gap between being a tourist and being a marine first responder.
But what an amazing experience from not needing to be there, but actually just going along because your colleague needed the help. and then noticing all these unusual things, and so strange that the other stingrays stayed in the area where they're not usually to be seen because they could see that there was the giant stingray that was in trouble. What an incredible experience to make such a big impact at that moment because you were there. So why did that rescue become the turning point for you to create the Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver specialty course?
The reason why that rescue became the catalyst for the Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver specialty, because I wanted to bridge the gap between being a tourist and being a marine first responder. Just to add here that when I got back, I still did not have an idea about this when I did the actual rescue. When I came back, it's surprising. When I came back home, when I was tired and I just took a nap, I actually woke up from my sleep with this picture. That's when I started writing the specialty immediately, once I woke up from my sleep. Because it woke me up from my sleep.
It didn't take you long. Once you had your rest and you were past the initial shock almost of going through that experience, it was like automatic. You knew straight away that something needed to be done and you were going to create something new to deal with how we manage the ocean and how we manage what is under the ocean. How did you introduce it, and how was this idea of creating this Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver specialty, how was it accepted in the diving community?
It's a quite an intensive work actually, because first thing what I needed to do is I needed to contact the regional manager of PADI, who is handling the EMEA, that is the Middle East regional manager. Then I had to explain him that I want to write a specialty about so and so because I have done this. So I sent him an email and then I got a reply back from Paddy, from the regional manager, that yes, you can propose this specialty and we will look into it and then we will come back and get back to you with a set of questions or whatever. Once I submitted an outline, what is my concept, Paddy actually sent me an outline to write the whole specialty, keeping in mind the standards of the specialty and the standards and the structure of the course. Once we finish writing the outline, then it goes back again to Paddy, to the headquarters. There is a dedicated team who proofreads it and they give very good suggestions that, no, Wajid, it has to be like this. Can you change this one? Can you add this one? What are the prerequisites? Can we do the prerequisites? So it's a lot of work and a lot of emails back and forth between me and the Paddy. And once we come to a conclusion and Paddy says, yeah, okay, fine. We have met the standards. Your specialty is falling under the standards what Paddy is working on. And now we can actually, go ahead and approve it. So thankfully, after a very, very long time, I shouldn't say long time because there were a lot of emails back and forth and the responses are very quick with Paddy because Paddy is really, really helpful in all these things and the rest of the things as well. For me, yes, actually, it took a long time because I had to write a lot, making sure that everything is in standard, everything is safe dive practices. I had to dive a lot of times just to write this specialty, to think from a different perspective under the water. If this happens, what should we do? If that happens, what should we do? How it has to be done in a safe way, keeping the most important thing in mind, the safety of a diver and the safety of the people who are going to use this specialty. And most important thing is not to forget the conservation. That's the most important pillar of this specialty. Now we are seeing that UAE is concentrating a lot and working really, really very hard on conservation and sustainability. So why not? This would play a very important role in doing that and achieving the goal.
Another fantastic achievement. Congratulations on that. As you mentioned there, that you needed to think from a different perspective when you're underwater. So when you were creating this course, that you had to think about it in a different way. How does your background in engineering influence your approach to diving and rescue?
I have a engineering or a mechanical background because my brain starts to think like engineering and mechanics. I did the same when I had to rescue. So I had to first stop, check what was the problem. And then when I see the problem, I have to think and then I have to prepare a solution and I have to act. That's the same principle in mechanics, what we do. When we see a mechanical problem, what we do is we stop, we analyze the problem first, and then we think what could be the causes, what could be the reason, and what could be the solution for these kind of problems. So when we list out those things, it is exactly the same principle what I applied when I had to rescue the stingray.
Excellent. So you don't just take action, you stop, analyze, see what are the possible solutions, and then you start to take action. And this is the way you approach it in engineering, and it's the same way that you approach it in when there's a rescue that needs to be done. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, you're right.
Is this specialty for existing divers or dive instructors? Do they need to have like a certain number of years or dives under their belt before they can take the course?
The prerequisites for this specialty is advanced open water. It's just one level above open water because I thought in mind why I did not keep it the prerequisites as open water is because once you just finish open water, you just want to have fun. You want to dive, you want to explore the underwater world. You need to have a proper buoyancy and proper trim while you're diving. So it's very fast if you go from open water to taking this specialty as your one of your specialty in diving career. So what I thought was it's better you have this specialty as advanced open water. Once you are there, then you can take this specialty and it gives you not only a perspective to rescue, or it also gives you a perspective for you to be safe and also for the marine animal to be safe. Actually, you come to know what is actually safer for both of you and how you have to approach and what is the best way for saving an animal and marine conservation as well.
I think that's excellent that you didn't put the starting position as to be an instructor first. By giving it the opportunity to advanced open water, as you said, they've taken the extra step. It's not just for fun. They've shown that they've got the ability, they've got the skill for the advanced level. By opening it up to everyone who is at that level, you now have more people who are conscious or more conscious of conservation and also able to do a rescue of marine life when there is a need. So I think that was an excellent decision.
Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception people have about scuba diving? People think there's no risk, for example, or some people might think it's too difficult to do it. What is the things that people say that's negative about diving that you've heard that you say, no, you're wrong about that. It is not that. It's actually this.
I would like to answer both of your questions, which is the negative part and the positive part when people say, oh, no, it is very difficult. No. Scuba diving is, you know, that most of our world is consisting of water.
75%, just if I had to take a guess.
Yeah. So has anyone know that this part of world exists? Very few people like me and you and all the other divers who have already.
Yeah, unless you've actually been diving, I don't think people even think about what's under the water.
Yes, exactly. I never knew there was scuba diving existing until and unless I heard that discover scuba diving. I said, what is this discover scuba diving? I want to try. First of all, to answer the question, scuba diving is not difficult. All what you need to do is just breathe. That's it.
Yeah, I think once you can learn to breathe with that mask on, it's like you're just in another world and just as comfortable as above water.
Yes, exactly. All you need to do is just breathe. So it is not at all difficult. All what you do is in normal life, we breathe. In scuba diving, we put on a mask. And as soon as you put on a mask, your nose is automatically closed with the nose pocket. So the place where you have to breathe from is your mouth. And you will have a regulator which is supplied with the air to breathe. So it's very simple. Just training your brain how to breathe with your mouth. That's it. That's the training of scuba diving. People having misconception about scuba diving that it's not dangerous. Yeah, every sport is a dangerous sport. Whether it is a scuba diving, whether it is skydiving, whether it is skiing, whether it is ice skating, any kind of sport is a dangerous sport. A lot of training is involved in all the sports. When you start doing, when you want to do some kind of a sport, there is a training behind that sport for a beginner. So we train the beginner. So that's the reason where there is an organization like PADI, which structures and prepares a training for any kind of beginner who wants to scuba dive to make it easy for them, step by step guide. Plus, you have an instructor training you each step of the way. And plus, the people who think that scuba diving it's easy, as you said before, they are having a misconception. It involves a lot of risks. That's the reason why there is a training. That's the reason why there are courses. That's the reason why PADI has created a course where you enroll yourself into the course. Plus, you have an e learning, you have all the risks and everything written down there before you even start the course. That's the reason why you have the forms before you enroll into the course. So it's very straight and simple.
On the one hand, it's easy, you just have to breathe. But on the other hand, there are risks involved. So that is why training is so important, so that to reduce the risk of accidents or something going wrong. So thank you for answering that. Now we've come to the segment of our show where I will ask you some rapid fire questions, our version of a game show. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready.
What's your favorite dive spot in the world?
There are a lot. I must marine life, Maldives, corals, I would say Egypt.
Lovely. Besides the obvious diving gear, what is one piece of optional gear you can't dive without? For some people, maybe it's a camera. You can take your pen and that notes that you write underwater. So people have different things, maybe it's a bag for stuff. I don't know. You don't have to have, but for you, you like to go with it.
I wouldn't dive without my ropes. There is a very short line of ropes which are actually tied to my BCD. I wouldn't dive without them either, and with my fins as well. Without my fins, which are my personal fins, they're very close to my heart.
That's it. So you don't just go on a boat and take whatever's lying around.
No, 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 no.
You have to have your own. Interesting. What's your favorite marine animal?
Oh, there are a lot, but manta ray is my favorite.
What does the ocean mean to you?
My home.
Oh, I love it. What is one thing that you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
I always pray.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much for playing along. That wasn't difficult at all. Now I would like to ask you our signature green pill question.
Okay.
What was your green pill moment, the action or event that was the turning point for you or your career?
Actually, I should say that it is a very, very interesting question. Just for a recap, the realization that I could no longer just be a visitor in the ocean, I had to become its guardian. For 15 years, I looked at the world through the lens of my mechanical engineer. Solving complex problems is high pressure industrial systems. I brought that some technical precision to my diving, eventually reaching the rank of a PADI course director, which was my dream come true. To put that in perspective, a course director is the highest professional rating in the diving world, as I've said, a level held by 1% of the industry's elite. But despite all my technical training and thousands of dives, nothing prepared me for that day at Martini Rock. It was a coincidence and it was a surprise. I don't know what to call it, but I came across this beautiful stingray, completely paralyzed and suffocating under the weight of a massive, massive ghost net. It took an hour of high stakes, precision work to cut it free. Seeing this majestic creature with all other friends of his swim away after being minutes from death changed everything for me that day. That was the moment I stopped viewing diving as just a career or a technical skill. I realized that if someone with my level of training, the top 1%, wasn't using those skills to systematically protect the ocean, then we were failing the environment. That rescue became the blueprint for the Ocean Guardian Rescue Diver specialty. It shifted my mission completely from teaching people how to dive to teach the next generation professionals how to be marine first responders.
Wow, what an incredible experience. And I love that it had such an impact on you that you then wanted to teach others and you wanted to help improve the way we interact with the oceans. Wajid, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story and mission with us today. Your journey from engineering to ocean advocacy is proof that one moment, one decision can ripple out into global change. Before we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you or learn more about your work?
You can connect with me on my Instagram ID, which is Wajid _diver, WAJID _DIVER. You can read about, I have a blog which is written on PADI website. You can feel free to go to PADI website and please feel free to read my blog. I have written a detailed blog about this speciality. And yeah, you can always get in touch with me through my Instagram, and I will take out the time to really reply. And I would be very happy to educate any new generation of divers, instructors. I would be really happy to share my experience with them and to try to educate them and train them to be better divers.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And to our listeners, thank you for diving in with us on this episode of the Matrix Green Pill podcast. If Wajid's story moved you or made you think differently about the ocean, please hit that follow button and leave us a 5-star review. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and never stop exploring.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.